This is the KMAX Sports Network.
From Cedar Park, Texas, live, it's Timberwolf Night in America. An hour and a half of nonstop honking of the Cedar Park football horn. Our fourth show of the season, our sixth season of the show, the 72nd show overall since we started doing this back in 2011. I am the so-called Via the T, the voice of the Timberwolves, Brad Cohn. We are live tonight from Mouton Southern Bistro near the intersection of Cypress Creek Road and La Colline. Just across the parking lot from Sprouts, behind the Sonic. We'll be here until 9 o'clock if you want to come on down. Joining me, as always, here on Timberwolf Night in America, he doesn't always call high school football, but when he does, he calls the Cedar Park Timberwolves. It's the king of That's What's Up, the donut hole, the wonderful Willard of Oz, lifetime Timberwolf Josh Crash Willard.
The best broadcast partner in the land and the best hype man of all time, Mr. Cohn. Thank you, Brad, for that intro. I appreciate it. Excited to have the Trench Dogs in the house tonight and go over that big win that we got this last week, going and stealing one, going east into Katy. So it was a big win, and can't wait to talk about this one and talk about Rouse coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Josh is also handling technical production for this show this year, twirling the knobs and levers that control the fire fountains and the big green head, and keeping this plane from crashing into a neighborhood and killing innocent people. The great Les Clary is our quality assurance agent tonight, monitoring the broadcast from the high-tech KMAX Sports Studios, making sure we don't sound like a dragon gargling lava. As Josh intimated, our special guest tonight, the offensive line. We'll be talking with the O-line a little bit later in the show. With us tonight are Timberwolves Braden Hufford, Luke Benavides, C.J. Blockman, Taylor Janasek, Luke Williams, Nico Green, and we're hoping to have their coach, Matt Kirkendall, join us as well. We started doing this show in 2011 from my house at my dining room table. We had all the guys come into my house the first 2 years, and then we moved to Sideline Sports Grill at Buttercup and Old 183 for a few years, and last year to this location under a different name. A few shows over at Smoky Moe's, and now we're using two venues this year. Here at Mouton's the week of home games, and across the street at Majore's the weeks of away games. Okay, here's what's on the schedule tonight. A review of the Cinco Ranch game. We'll check other scores of interest in 11-5A and around Central Texas and give our picks for district games as they start this week. Blue Chipper Blues, our first installment, looking at how some top players have done against Cedar Park through the years. A conversation with the Cedar Park offensive line. Josh's segment, The Wonderful World of Willard. A fun trivia game with the guys, and a look ahead at the district opener with Rouse, which includes another special guest tonight, KMAX Sports voice of the Rouse Raiders, Sonny Zepeda. All right, Josh, another fun road trip with our broadcast crew. Rain squalls, traffic jams, a stop at Buc-ee's, and a late night getting home, all with an exciting football game sandwiched in between. Timberwolves even their record at 2-2 going into district with a victory over a program that for the last 5 or 6 years was second in their district, only to perennial state title contender Katy. In fact, Texas football picks Cinco Ranch for second to the Tigers in that district again this year. What are your initial impressions coming out of that game?
Just very impressed with Cedar Park for going on the road, and whenever you go on long road trips, you want to see how the team can come out and respond. Not to mention they were having to deal with some lightning and weather when they got to the football stadium. It started on time and on schedule, but still when you have that factor of weather, that still plays a factor in how you get ready and how you prepare. But Cedar Park started off strong, and I was really impressed about how they came off and really smacked this 6A program in the mouth and made it a physical game for 4 quarters. And that's just kind of what Cedar Park's mantra is we might not have the strongest, fastest players, but we're going to play very technically sound, and we'll play for 4 quarters. And so I was very impressed, and that was an absolute superb way to wrap up non-district, to even it up at 500, and to get it rolling for district.
And I was impressed with how they hung on at the end under a lot of duress. The offense kind of did great most of the game, but in the last 2 possessions, they lost a yard. It was the net yardage in the last 2 possessions. And even with that, they found a way to hang on and win that close game. And I think if this was the first game of the year, say 3 weeks ago, Vandergriff, I don't think this team wins that game. You can see it's palpable, the difference in improvement in the team.
Absolutely. Just the way that they hung in it. And the offense, though, they kept the pressure on it the entire game. They were just picking and choosing at will, just throwing it all over the field. And then that defense, you can just rely on them at the very end and coming up with that unreal interception. We apologize for any busted eardrums.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to revisit that tonight.
Oh, gosh. That was loud.
All right, a review of the Katy Cinco Ranch game. It was another dark and stormy night on the road in West Houston at the very impressive Legacy Stadium, Katy ISD's new place. Weather threats to interrupt the game never panned out, though. If you didn't go to the game or listen to our broadcast or watch it on the replay, you'd think the 14-13 final score was indicative of an evenly fought game. It wasn't. Cedar Park had absolute control of this one from the word go. The degree of statistical dominance was impressive, and looking at the stats with just 5 minutes to go in the game would make you think that we were well up on these guys. With 5 minutes to go, Cinco Ranch had run more than 3 consecutive offensive plays on just 2 of their 11 possessions thus far on the night. The net ball movement numbers at that point were in favor of Cedar Park 385 to 42.
I don't think, putting that in perspective, this other team was averaging, 400 to 500 yards of offense a game?
And like 36 points a game.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, really impressive. And the first down totals at that point were 17 to 3. We'd run 81 plays, and they'd run 35, only 3 of which occurred in our territory. They had 3 times as many punts as they had first downs at that point in the game. So, no, it wasn't a close game, actually, only on the score. That's the only place that mattered, though. Yeah, the score wasn't 45 to nothing, which numbers like this usually presage. It was just 14 to 7 at that point. And a few running plays later, they had ostensibly scored the tying touchdown with just 3:05 left in the game. So how'd we get there? Well, it started off with Cedar Park getting the ball first and starting at their own 25. They went 26 yards in 8 plays to the Cougar 49, but stalled and punted. Cinco Ranch started from their own 20, lost 8 yards in 3 plays, and punted it back to us from their 12. The Timberwolves were in business from the Cougar 38, but they couldn't get the engine started this time, and they lost 3 yards in 4 plays, and the ball went over on downs. Cinco Ranch started at their own 41, and this time lost 4 yards in 3 plays and punted. Starting from their own 28, T-Wolves got that engine started again, slicing downfield 35 yards in 8 plays to the Ranch 37, but again failed there on 4th down. Starting from their 36, finally, on their 3rd possession, the Cougars gained some yardage. I use the term loosely. It was only 4 yards, and they punted again. But Cedar Park, after getting a first down, lost yardage, and after just 5 plays, punted it back. Now in the second quarter, Cinco Ranch then started from their own 20, gained a whole yard in 3 plays, and punted yet again. The Black Rain had thrown 4 straight 3-and-outs at the Cougars to open the game. This punt was returned to the 33, and Cedar Park had only a third of the field to go to score, but they couldn't do it. After a first down and 11 yards on 4 plays, the snap was rolled back to the holder on a 40-yard field goal attempt. They could never get the kick off, so technically another over on downs, our 3rd in the first 5 possessions. After a 12-yard run got Cinco Ranch its initial first down of the game, the next play was a quick out to a receiver behind the line on the left side, but speedy Brandon King found a hole and went untouched 58 yards to the end zone. Suddenly a team that 2 plays earlier had moved the ball minus 7 yards in 4 possessions was up on us 7-0. But that slap in the face appeared to be the jolt Cedar Park needed. After the kickoff was turned to the 27, the Timberwolf offense, Rider in the Storm, marched 73 yards in 11 plays in 2 minutes and 57 seconds on what might be the most impressive possession of the season so far. The score came on a 32-yard strike from Hernandez to Brandon Breed, who was seeing his first action of the season following an injury. Justin Boer's kick tied the game at 7-7, 2:55 left in the half. This is our offensive audio highlight of the night. Let's see if we can get this one going for you.
Well, that was a running formation and a running play, which we hadn't seen. And it's the same formation here at 2nd and 8 from the 32. Ball between the hash marks exactly. Snap. Fakes it to him this time. Throws deep. Has a man all alone. Hits him at the 40. It is Brandon Breed, and he will go down the left sideline and into the end zone. Touchdown, Timberwolves. That play covered 68 yards.
Couldn't have set it up perfectly with the first down run by Hernandez. Set up the play action, and Brandon Breed completely selling it by
Well, we
out
there we go. We're getting a little bit of hang-ups there. But anyway, you get the gist of it.
safety.
Timberwolves scored on that play. And so that tied it at 7. The next Ranch possession was back to normal for them. 3 plays, 2 yards, and a punt. But the T-Wolves couldn't convert a 4th down play again, this one at their own 45. The Cougars then somehow used 7 plays to go 7 yards to end the half. Score tied at 7-7. Cinco Ranch had won the toss and deferred, so they got the ball to start the second half. I'll give you 1 second to guess what they did. Yeah. 3 plays, 2 yards, and a punt. Their 6th 3-and-out in 7 possessions. Cedar Park, I know some JV teams that might do better than that against the Black Rain. Maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams. That was unbelievable. I just could not. This is not what we expected.
But we'll take it.
Yes.
Cedar Park then started from their own 30, put up a different formation that sort of looked like a short yardage running play, ran to the left side for a couple of yards and promptly lined up in that same formation again, but it's trickery to pull the defense in. And actually, I got the moment of our offensive highlight in the wrong place. I put it in our first touchdown. That was actually our second touchdown we listened to that I'm describing here. His 68-yard touchdown play. That made it 14-7 Timberwolves. Just a minute 40 gone in the third, and it seemed like things were about to open up and Cedar Park would pull away. We had no idea we'd never see the end zone again. The rest of the third quarter boiled down to an even exchange of punts and fumbles. Cinco Ranch fumbled on their fourth play of the next possession, but Cedar Park fumbled it right back. Then there were 5 straight punts, 3 by Ranch, 2 by the Timberwolves. The Cougars' 3 possessions here went for 2, 7, and 6 yards, and 2 of those were 3 and outs. Cedar Park seemed to get rolling again with about 4 minutes left in the quarter, shoving downfield 36 yards in 8 plays, but stalled at their own 45 and punted. And on their next one, they lost 3 yards and punted in the first of only 2 3-and-outs in the night for Cedar Park. That gets us to the fourth quarter, and Cinco Ranch promptly opened it with another 3-and-out. Cedar Park's offense went to work again, starting from their own 44, getting all the way down to the 15, making a serious bid to take a 21-7 lead and close this game out. But they couldn't close the deal, failed on fourth down. At this point, net ball movement figures were 312 to 75. Unfortunately, Cedar Park would never gain another yard, and in fact, over the last 2 possessions would lose 2 yards. Meanwhile, Cinco Ranch would close out the game having solved their offensive woes, although a tad too late. They'd gained 122 of their 243 total yards of offense in the last 5 minutes of the game. That's 1 yard more than half of their full game total in the last 5 minutes of the game. Frighteningly, with their next to last possession, they cruised 85 yards in 8 plays. David Yabenda running it in from the 2 to ostensibly tie the game, but the football gods, for once, smiled on us for a change, and their kicker shanked the extra point. After a Cedar Park punt, the Cougars' final possession of the game ended with a clutch interception by the Black Rain's Caden Combs to the 25. They were almost in field goal range to win it. This play is our defensive audio highlight of the night, and I guarantee I got this in the right place, but cover your ears. I kind of sound like that Mexican soccer announcer who yells, "Go!" Only I wasn't yelling any word, I was just yelling. So here we go.
And here we go, 2nd and 10 from their R43. Back to play! Who was it, Jeff?
Caden Combs dropping back.
Combs with a pick.
Caden Combs dropping back in coverage. Now that quarterback had no opportunity to really get Caden Combs off of this coverage. As soon as that ball snapped, Harper looks at this receiver dead in his eyes. Caden Combs comes off of his receiver into the flats to peel back towards the safety going over the top. And Brad, you asked for it.
I had asked for a turnover right
literally,
before that.
Literally the play before
this time
that
for a turnover.
said we needed a turnover. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, and, that was, we were in such dire straits at that point. It really looked like they were going to go down there and at least get a field goal and take a game from us that was ours, dang it. And that yell was basically just kind of a sigh of relief, letting off the pressure. Oh, my God.
That's a great way to describe it.
Right now, similar to last week when San Angelo Central got 152 of their 155 yards of ball movement on their 2 lone scoring drives, Cinco Ranch got 155 of their 212 yards of net ball movement on their 2 scoring drives. Against Cedar Park, apparently the rule is you either score or you go nowhere. The defense's scoring allowance is improving. In the 2 losses, the Black Rain allowed a total of 8 touchdowns. In the 2 wins, they've allowed just 3 plus 1 field goal. The 27 total points in this game marked the lowest scoring Cedar Park football game since a 13-0 shutout of Vandegrift in 2016, and the second lowest since beating Lancaster 17-7 in the 2012 state championship game.
It was an overall great performance, though, and like you said, the stats, I mean, it was just such a dominant performance, just not enough points coming across at the end of those possessions for the offense, and that's the one thing that Cedar Park is going to go back and try to fix, and that's the great thing is you get an unbelievable win at a beautiful venue, by the way. That was
what a great place.
2 football stadiums in the same parking lot. That's awesome. That's the coolest thing ever.
Texas.
I love it. I know. All my family in North Carolina could not get over that. That was funny. But just really impressed with that big win, and I don't know, it just sets them up for the rest of the district season, and you just like to see how Cedar Park hung on to that one.
Yeah, we're just seeing, improvement in many phases of the game every week. And, that's what I keep looking at this and thinking, gosh, we didn't do this well, we didn't do that well, we didn't do that well. And we held a team to 9 3-and-outs, a team that's picked second to a perennial state title contender in their district for the 5th year in a row. In their place, a team that had 58 seniors on the 69-person roster.
And their homecoming.
Oh,
did that
they
feel good?
They had 1,100 more people than
that
we
would
had.
have felt so good.
And we beat those guys without even playing as good as this team can play, as
Right.
good as this team will be playing in a few weeks. Impressive.
It was very impressive.
All right, here are my observations from updating the stats in the school record book. The Timberwolves had 6 possessions that went 30 yards or more. The 2 scoring drives covering 70 and 73 yards. The yardage wasn't the issue. We just kind of didn't close the deal when we got down inside about the 30 or so. Cinco Ranch got 175 of their 243 yards of total offense on 5 of their 52 plays. That's 72% of their yards on only 5 plays. 4 of those were late in the fourth quarter.
Oh, my goodness.
With the 68-yard scoring pass to Brandon Breed, Ryder Hernandez in the last 3 games has 3 of the 7 longest pass completions in Cedar Park history. We're both living by the big play and dying by the big play. Good one. Josh runs the music, too. Rider in the Storm.
Rider in the Storm, man.
With 3 minutes left in the game, Tamarauser had only had to punt 3 times. He also had gained enough for a critical first down when running with a fake punt to the left side. He'd end up averaging 49.8 yards on 5 punts. As of this moment, there are only 6 punters in all of college football who average more than that.
He really figured it out. In that first game against Vandergrift, he had some that came off of the side of his foot a little wonky and got under him a little too much, and he's really figured it out now.
All right, Brandon Breed will take a lot of pressure and coverage off of Carson Neal. In his first game back since last season, Breed caught 8 passes for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns. That is the 7th best individual receiving game in Cedar Park history. And so, again, in the last 3 games, between Neal and Breed, this team has produced 3 of the top 7 individual receiving performances in program history.
That's unbelievable. And Brandon Breed was so missed. And I just remember going down on the field in the pregame and just seeing number 7, because last year I think he was in the 83, I think he was.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know. I just didn't imagine. And then as soon as we got back in the press box, he said that he was back, and oh my goodness, was he back and in a big way.
And, I mentioned this during the broadcast. I kept seeing him doing stuff, and reflexively, I wanted to go back a few years. I saw 7 making great receiving plays and scoring touchdowns. And I kept wanting to say Ethan Fry.
That's a good one to say, too. That's a good one to say.
All right, 32 of Cinco Ranch's 52 offensive snaps went for 1, 0, or negative yardage, 62%. This is the highest figure in the stat for one game in almost 2 years.
That'll definitely boost the average for the season.
All right, the 9 3-and-outs by Cinco Ranch is the most Cedar Park has ever put up against a 6A team, beating the previous record of 7 put up against the Rouse Raiders in 2015, 3 years ago.
And this offense was no joke, people. The speed that they had and they just had nowhere to go. Cedar Park was able to contain the speed the entire night.
With this win, Cedar Park football has now pulled ahead in its record against Houston area teams. It started off 0-3 in this category with losses to Waller in the 2001 playoffs, Cypress Creek in the 2008 playoffs, Cypress Ridge in the 2009 playoffs. We haven't lost to a Houston area team since, with a win over Crosby in the 14 playoffs, Ridge Point in the 15 playoffs, Willis in the 16 playoffs, and now Cinco Ranch here in 2018. The record against Houston Metro teams now 4-3. Coach Absek's career head coaching record now 41-5 at .891. Still the best winning percentage by any coach who's coached more than one full season in the long and royal history of high school football in the state of, by God, Texas. The last time Cedar Park lost 3 games in a row by falling in their final playoff game in one year and then opening with 2 losses to open the next year, yet still entered district play with a non-losing record, as they have right now. They ran the table, winning 14 straight and capturing the program's first state championship in 2012. A difference, though, is that team had a lot more experience on its roster than our young 2018 team. This is going to be exciting to watch them grow and mature.
I really think it is, and we really saw them mature, and a lot of stuff was exposed in the non-district. You saw some really close wins go our way, and that builds a lot of confidence. And we do have a young team, and that's kind of the exciting thing about it is that they're only going to learn a lot more, and they're going to find their groove.
You know, as we were packing up and leaving the press box there at Legacy Stadium, I went by one of the reporters for the Houston Chronicle who was sitting there, and he started asking me, you know, since they lost, they really didn't expect to lose. They thought a 5A team came in here 1-2, and you know, and not scoring a lot of points, and they thought, you know, homecoming, homecoming. We're playing a 5A team here. Let's make homecoming this game. They really had no idea they had any chance of losing that game. They're utterly shocked, and they were disappointed. And when I pointed out that, you know, 4 of our 5 starting offensive linemen had their first varsity playing time 3 weeks ago, and all of our running backs did. And this was our 15-year-old quarterback's second career start, throwing for 276 and 2 scores. And when I said that, you could see that he was even more disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the funny thing, too, because these last 2 games with San Angelo and Katy Cinco Ranch, just the immediate rival that we have created with these schools, because they're going to come out for blood next season when we have to play Katy Cinco Ranch here at the GUP, and then when we're going to go down to San Angelo. So that's going to be interesting just to see Cedar Park going and smacking these teams in the mouth. And
thinking how many of these guys that have been doing this year will be back.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of role players are underclassmen on this team. It's really exciting. All right, we're going to take a short break, and when we return, we'll have our first installment this season of Blue Chipper Blues. Back in a flash with more Timberwolf Night in America.
Mouton Southern Bistro is the home of Timberwolf Night in America on Tuesday nights during the weeks of home games. They specialize in what they call Southern Diner cuisine. Their flavors are bold. They don't hold back on the seasoning. Their top seller is the chicken fried steak. They've also got pasta dishes, several variations of jambalaya, gourmet burgers served on Hawaiian sweet rolls, and gumbo, of course. You can also check out their Leander location on 183. That's Mouton Southern Bistro near the corner of Cypress Creek Road and Lakeline, just across the parking lot from Sprouts. Experience the difference at Toyota of Cedar Park, one of the Austin area's newest automobile dealerships. Their new vehicle department will always stock the newest Toyota models you need. The pre-owned vehicles they choose must each pass a rigorous inspection and be in tip-top shape before they make it to their lot or website for you to see. And if you're looking for budget-friendly Toyota certified used vehicles, they've got you covered, and you can rest easy knowing that the best new cars make the best used cars. That's Toyota of Cedar Park at toyotaofcedarpark.com.
1, 2, 3, hit!
More coverage of your high school teams. Let's just say we keep it real.
And you know this, man!
This is the KMAX Sports Network.
Plenty of time left for you to come on down and sit with us if you want to. Josh and Brad and some Cedar Park Timberwolves. We just recapped the Katy Cinco Ranch game played at Legacy Stadium, far west Houston, last Friday night. The offense moved the ball well until the fourth quarter. They're on their way to their 3rd consecutive game of well over 400 total yards until getting only 1 yard in the last 8 minutes of the game. Good passing yardage at 339, but more troubles with the ground game. Only 1.8 yards per carry after a pretty good rushing game last week. Black Rain was outstanding, throwing 9 3-and-outs at Cinco Ranch, grabbing a pick, forcing a fumble, forcing 9 punts, strongly outplaying the Cougars to a great degree, but only a 1-point win. Our first such since 2010's amazing come-from-behind 36-35 win over Vista Ridge. All right, something I'd like to announce before we move on is that today I have confirmed our halftime guest for the Georgetown game in 2 weeks. As you've been listening to the games and TNIA this season, and in this last break, you've heard the many commercials for one of our biggest sponsors, Toyota of Cedar Park. The Cedar Park football program's contact there just also happens to be one of the top women's basketball players ever at Cedar Park High. Maddie Hess went on to play collegiately, played on a University of Texas Dallas Sweet 16 team her senior year in college. Maddie and the boss herself, Julie Herrera, the dealer principal, will join us in the booth during halftime Friday night, October 12th. All right, now it's time for Blue Chipper Blues. Josh, I know you've been looking forward to this.
Yeah.
if we weren't already aware that we get to cheer and cover for a pretty good football program, this segment will sample what so many stud recruits have done when they face Cedar Park. And we've seen a lot of the very best over the years. The synopses we'll present on Blue Chipper Blues include descriptions of the efforts of players who were, at the time that we played them, among the top nationwide recruits at wideout, running back, quarterback. Not that we don't think that all the numbers these players run up against their other opponents and all the press accolades and all the recruiter attention, all the amazing highlight footage is unjustified or untrue or anything like that. It's just that most of the time when we see such players go up against the Cedar Park Timberwolves, we really don't see very much. We will start off this season's run of our feature Blue Chipper Blues with a guy much in the news lately. He was a starting quarterback for Lake Travis in 2011. Fast forward to last week, and with his terrific performance in guiding the team to what seems like his first victory since the Crusades, he is currently on his way to becoming the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. We're talking about Baker Mayfield, Lake Travis quarterback, Texas Tech quarterback, Oklahoma quarterback, Heisman Trophy winner, and #1 overall draft pick for the Browns. In 2 games that Mayfield played against Cedar Park in 2011, he had one good half, the first half of the 4 he played, in what amounted to the District 25 4A championship game that closed the regular season, a 24-21 Lake Travis win that remains the last district home game Cedar Park lost. During that first half, Mayfield went 13 for 23 for 164 yards and a touchdown. Pretty decent numbers. But this amounts to almost half of the completed passes he would ever throw against Cedar Park in 2 games that season. Over the next 6 quarters, he'd only complete 14 passes total. In the second half of that regular season game, he completed just 1 pass for 9 yards and couldn't lead his offense to a single first down over its last 7 possessions of the game. In the Region 4 final 4 weeks later at DKR, more of the same. Mayfield literally spent half the night getting sacked, getting tackled for 1, 0, or negative yards on running plays, or throwing incomplete passes or interceptions. After an early 17-yard touchdown pass, Mayfield would complete only 4 passes for more than 2 yards gained the rest of the night, misfiring completely on streaks of 6 in a row once and 4 out of 5 twice. The Cavs got only 3 first downs in the second half, none in the fourth quarter. Mayfield had 9 carries for 6 yards rushing, 5 of that on 1 run. 24 of Lake Travis' 48 pleas, that's exactly half of them, were Baker Mayfield getting sacked, going for 1 yard or less on a running play, completing a pass for 2 yards or less, or throwing an incomplete pass or interception. Lake Travis had 8 3-and-outs that night. Remember, Cinco Ranch just had 9. With the Cavs employing an extremely quick-to-the-line, hurry-up offense, I overheard a reporter in the press box during halftime say, "That Baker Mayfield can get his team to 4th down faster than anyone I've ever seen." On one possession, the Cavalier were lining up to punt just 45 real-time wall clock seconds after coming out to take a first down snap. Yet Lake Travis somehow won that game 14-9, strictly by defensive prowess. The Cav offense went nowhere under Mayfield. If all you saw of Baker Mayfield were his mundane performances against Cedar Park, he would not have been the 4A second-team All-State selection at quarterback. And another thing, how does that happen when Brian Hogan was a 25 4A district MVP at quarterback, and Hogan's not the name listed as the first-team All-State 4A quarterback?
They don't like us.
Riddle me that, Batman. If his performances against Cedar Park that year were all Tech saw of Baker Mayfield, they wouldn't have been interested. Now, who knows if the Oklahoma Avenue would have opened up in that case?
Yeah, it's unbelievable to see where things have gone, and we've just seen so many athletes that coming into it have all the hype, and you can just tell that the coaches that come to Cedar Park and commit their time and their schedules, when it's football season, I mean, it's just lights out. They're all zeroed in and focused on breaking down all their tendencies and just little things like that. And I'm telling you, from being in this program, it really is like that these coaches prepare you in a way that you never even think about these athletes. You never even think about how great they are, because you know if you do your job, then there's nothing, because it's a team game at the end of the day, and that's just what's different.
And exactly what you're saying is the reason we even have this feature, Blue Chipper Blues, because we're going to go through the rest of the season on TNI, big name after big name that couldn't do anything to the Cedar Park Timberwolves. All right, next week our subject on Blue Chipper Blues will be Temple, Oregon, Baylor, NFL, and now CFL running back Lake Seastrunk, once a Heisman Trophy candidate. Yeah, he didn't do much against Cedar Park either. All right, now it's time for Josh's segment. We call it The Wonderful World of Willard.
And it's good to have this time just to check in and talk about our Horns with that unreal win at home.
Wow.
Against TCU. Got them all the way ranked now at 18th in the rankings, and that was just a big-time win, 31-16, I think the final was. I mean, that's a heck of an offensive output.
Yeah, the thing I like best about these two wins, people will say, well, USC. Their only losses to us and Stanford, and Stanford was a 17-3 game, and Stanford's unbeaten top 10 team.
They just came back from Oregon.
We're going to find out. USC's actually a pretty good team. TCU, they've lost 2 in a row. Ohio State is Ohio State. They gave them a run except for a few minutes at the end of the third quarter.
But they played in a stadium that is 8 times bigger than theirs.
And we can point out to Cecil that the Texas margin over TCU was bigger than Ohio State's. So you can chew on that. The thing I like about these last 2 games, the trend I like to see, is that the second half of both games absolutely was yanked in Texas' favor. Absolute, total, utter dominance in the second half of both games. Shut both teams out in the second half. That's exactly what you want. You want to win going away every week.
And it's just that, the offense has been the questions coming into the season for the Horns, but that defense has just been so amazing and giving the offense opportunities to make plays and shorter fields to work with and stuff like that. So it's been a joy to really watch this Horns team go 3-0 right now at home.
Yeah, I think Ellinger, the Westlake guy at quarterback, the gripe people had about him, most people agree he's got more upside, more growth potential than Buechele. Buechele's as good as he's ever going to get. Sam isn't yet. He's going to get better. But the main gripe people have had is the bonehead plays.
Right.
Poor decisions, turnovers, late in games that cost us, 6 games last year directly. And he hasn't made those in these last 2 second halves. And we shut out both teams, and they're good teams.
And that's the thing. You think about, you compare him to almost a fullback playing quarterback because he has that it factor where he wants to be physical and he wants to put his head down and run through someone instead of around someone. But you're right. He hasn't been making the bonehead decisions. He's maturing into the offense. He's understanding everything with Coach Herman. And I think Herman is an unbelievable – I can't believe the University of Texas got him when he was on the market. And, he gets his guys ready to play. They're motivated. And I'm just excited to see where the Horns are going to go. They're doing well. And with that, I got to put some people on blast, man.
Okay.
I got to put all college football fans on blast.
Okay.
It was another home game for the Longhorns, and surprisingly, another home win. Also with the big crowds from the Horns and the opponent TCU Horned Frogs meant another sellout for your favorite food stand. What up? Krispy Kreme, man, we were selling donuts like crazy.
You should go to Texas games just to get donuts from Josh.
You really should. It's the best donut. We don't have the warmer there, so don't ask me that because I get asked all the time. But that's not the annoying question that gets me going.
Oh, yeah?
Because while I'm putting all these people on blast, because everything's going good on the field, now the questions aren't on the field. The questions are in the stands with these fans, and it's not about my donuts. It's not anything. It's where's the bathroom? That is the most asked question that I get working at that food stand is where's the bathroom? I don't know if we're going to credit that to alcohol sales at DKR.
Or poor design or signage in the understand.
But we live in 2018. If you're okay with yourself as a human to come ask another man where the bathroom is at a football stadium, you've got issues, man. I'm sorry. And so I'm sorry. So many sarcastic responses immediately come into my head whenever I'm hearing these.
But you can't do them, right?
If it was a Longhorn fan, I told him exactly down the stairs to the left. Now, if they showed up in purple, if it was a guy, I always sent them to the women's, up the stairs to the right. If you have to ask where the bathroom is, I just have so many questions. So, with the cue, it feels good to be back, Brad.
I have a little
Are you
bit
stupid or something? Obviously, as stupid as stupid does.
That's right. That's right, Boris. Stupid is as stupid does.
That's it.
I have a little bit of a gripe, too. They talk about record crowds against USC and a record crowd, 101,000 or whatever, these 2 games. And yet, every time, I went to the USC game, so I saw the replay on the Longhorn Network, and I watched the TCU game from home. every time the Skycam would cruise over, especially the west side lower stands, the ones in front of the press box, 20 to 20, floor to ceiling, floor to the press box, where
That's
all
the homes.
all the oldsters
Right.
have their season tickets. I'm telling you, there was swath after swath of 10, 11, 12 seats in a row that were empty on every row. Really, really hacks me off. If you're not going to at least give your ticket to somebody else, if you're not going to go, get butts and seats. 'Cause I guarantee you there were not 101,000 people there. And I look around, sure enough, you look around even other places stadium, there'd be swaths of empty seats. You know, there weren't any completely empty corners like you get at a non-sellout. I mean, the pattern was full. There weren't any empty nooks. But all through the filled spaces, there were empty rows and empty rows. I guarantee you there weren't 101,000. It's probably 89,000.
And I don't know, maybe you credit that to these awesome end zone clubs at DKR now. I mean, there's a lot of hoopla going on. So maybe if you get everybody to sit down at once, it'd be full.
All right. Anything else for Wonderful Will to Willard?
That's all I got for you, my friend.
All right. It's time for another very short break. We'll be right back again with the Cedar Park O-line after this.
Call Fire. Texting and calling solutions that help you reach more customers. Over 4 billion messages delivered. Engage your customers with text and phone call reminders to develop customer relationships and alert them to new opportunities. Save valuable time by easily sending personalized messages to all of your prospects and customers in minutes, not hours. Increase revenue by activating lead lists, tracking advertising performance, and shortening collection cycles. Thousands trust Call Fire. Go to callfire.com and sign up now to reduce customer attrition, increase sales, and start direct customer conversations. Fall is here, and we all know that fall in Austin means high school sports. Whether you're on the field, on the court, or in the bleachers, mishaps can happen. And Family Emergency Room is dedicated to helping our families get back to doing what they'd love to do. Their facilities are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with no wait time. They proudly serve Cedar Park, Round Rock, Georgetown, Lakeline, and Lake Travis. Visit them at FamilyER24.com for information on the location nearest you. Family Emergency Room. We're here for the unexpected.
In the battle for barbecue supremacy, warriors pit prime meats, secret sauces, and recipes against one another. Yet one champion stands alone. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, in the modern-day vernacular, where bad means good. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue has the worst barbecue in Texas.
This is the KMAX Sports Network.
All right, welcome back. Timberwolf Night in America. Josh and Brad bringing you the stuff from the 613 Heart of Cedar Park tonight. O-linesman here with us. We'll be talking to them in just a moment. I had an idea, Josh. Maybe you're doing this already. If not, here's my suggestion. You ought to use burnt orange dough for the donuts of the game.
Well, we have a Longhorn featured donut, and so that's a pretty good seller for the kids.
What like as a shape of the logo or something?
So we do it's a regular glazed donut. We do a white icing on top, and then we put Longhorn gummies. Now we're trying to go to the sprinkled donut with orange and white sprinkles. That'd be a lot easier. I don't know the focus group who thought of the gummies idea, but it is an unbelievable seller to kids. I mean, they buy them up because it's got a little gummy on it, but it is a Longhorn gummy. It's the weirdest thing.
Burnt orange dough, though. Yeah, actually, on second thought, burnt orange dough are those people who aren't showing up in the rich folks season tickets. That's right. That's what the burnt orange dough is.
Right.
Anyway. All right. Now we're going to bring in our very special guest tonight, the Cedar Park offensive line. We've got Luke Benavides, Braden Hufford, C.J. Blackman, Taylor Janicek, Luke Williams, and Nico Green. And we're going to pass the mic around the guys. And, Luke, I think we'll just go ahead and start with you. Pass him the mic. Luke Benavides, O-linesman at Cedar Park. How you doing?
Good.
Good to have you guys here. We have realized over this last decade or so, and Chris Ross came in 5, spent about 4 years building what we have now, and we're cruising on the bedrock of what he built, the foundation, what he built. And the thing he started with and the thing that he made good, and it is good every year, is the offensive line. You know, the team goes where the offensive line builds the roads for it. And so it's great to have you guys here. We always figure you guys the superstars. I'll talk with Snoop Daniel after the games, or Roger Wallace or somebody. They're getting the report after the games on various radio shows, and they'll say, name some of the people at Cedar Park. I always, I don't always, but I often stop and say, well, it's the O-line that's the star. And we had several years in a row, and I sense that we're going to get back to that, where the joke was that at Cedar Park, the offensive line is so good that every Friday morning pep rally they have a raffle, and whichever student wins gets to put on a uniform and run for 125 and 3 touchdown that night. And I think we're headed back to that. The start of the running game is not good now. We know that. Everybody knows that. But it's mainly because we understand that a lot of you guys had your first varsity action just three and a half weeks ago now, and that all the running backs did. So nobody's worried about that. I think time and experience are going to do it. Luke, how long have you been an O-linesman? When did it start? Are you new to that position?
It started sophomore year when Coach Kirkendall asked me to come over, play tackle. The JVA needed a tackle that season.
What position were you playing before that? I
was playing tight end, and I was coming off an ACL injury. So he asked me, he said, with your height, with your size, how would you like to play O-line for us?
And what class are you? You junior?
Junior.
Junior. So you're another one that's back next year. We love to hear that.
That's awesome. Now, how long have you been playing football?
Let's see. Today's Tuesday.
I've been playing flag football ever since I was about 4.
Right.
And then started tackle 7th grade and stuck with it.
Very cool.
Now, what is it that you like best, and what is it that you dislike most about being an offensive lineman?
What I like best about being an offensive line is we dictate the game. If we're going to be successful as an offense, we have to perform. We have to do our job so that the guys in the backfield can get all the glory. And what I dislike about it is, if you don't perform up to that, if you're not good enough, everybody notices it. So you're under the pressure all the time.
It's like you're under a magnifying glass the entire game.
It's kind of like policemen and referees, right? If they're doing their job, nobody knows and nobody talks about it. When they screw up, everybody's talking about it. Yeah, but that's true with a lot of things in life. But yeah, being an offensive lineman is a great lesson. Football has so many of them, but being an offensive lineman is a great lesson because most of us through our lives don't get accolades. It's other people who get the press and the praise, and we just kind of go quietly about doing our jobs in our lives for the most part. And, our own satisfaction at the job well done is pretty dang good, and you guys get that satisfaction more often than not, I'm sure. Now, what do you like best, run blocking or pass blocking?
I like run blocking because, it's a mentality that you have to develop, and you get to go smash the guy across from you.
Yeah?
I think that's you've gotta want it to be able to go run block, and I think that's something that Cedar Park. I know you guys you're gonna get after it during the district this season. Is there one thing as an offensive line group collectively that you want to take from last game and focus on this week in practice?
Just playing together, growing as a group. Like you've said, we're young. We only have one returning starter from last year, so we just need to grow as a group as the season comes.
All right, thanks. Luke Benavides, junior offensive linesman, joining us here on Timberwolf Night in America. Now he's passing the mic to Braden Hufford. And Braden, you're one of the few seniors hanging around, right?
Yes, sir.
And you've been on our show last year, I remember, so you kind of been through this routine before.
Yeah.
And now you're getting a lot of playing time. You're one of the starters. Team captain as well, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
Team captain? Tell us how Cedar Park goes about choosing its team captains and what their duties are, because it might be a little different than other programs.
We just do a vote, like everybody who's like on JV and varsity, just vote for a team captain.
And what are the duties of a team captain?
Like making sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to do, picking what we wear for the game, talking at pep rallies.
Oh, you get to pick the outfits.
Get to talk at pep rallies too. Yeah. That can be kind of fun. Now, so have you talked at pep rallies?
Yes, I did.
Do you work on a spiel? Do you have something ready in your pocket?
No, I just wing it.
Freestyle. You just freestyle.
Freestyle pep rally surfing. Yeah,
I love it. So, who's someone like at the next level of college or NFL that you try to emulate your game off of?
Spencer Durango.
Oh,
why not?
That boy.
Why not?
Yeah.
And what about his game?
Just like he's good.
That's a good. I mean, yeah, he's good at all phases. That's for sure.
Remind me when we're done, Braden. Come over here. I've got a picture to show you from a few years back of Spencer rumbling downfield around a corner, getting ready to run into a Vandegrift linebacker. I want to show you that.
Now,
picture.
mind you, when we played Vandegrift, they only had juniors on their team.
They didn't have any seniors.
So we literally wiped them up with, on our rear ends. It was awesome.
So yeah, I'd like to show you. I'd like to show you that picture. Now, is there, being a senior, are you the only senior in the offensive line? Or
No, there's Taylor Janus.
Okay.
Nico Green.
Okay. So we got some experience there in the playing ranks.
Yeah.
Does the O-line have, from play to play as the drive's going, does the O-line kind of have a coach on the field? If they do, is it one of you seniors or?
Yeah.
Somebody who leads, on the field?
Yeah.
And who is it?
And who?
Oh, like the coach or?
Like on the field and for the offensive
a
line.
coach on the field.
Oh.
A player.
Who's the vocal leader?
Taking charge.
Me.
Nice.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's what I was getting to. That's what I was getting to. And on that note, I'll state that many different tests have shown that on football teams, the highest IQ by position is the O-line. So I need to make sure you all know that.
That's right.
Spencer Durango was almost a valedictorian, I believe.
He was.
Yeah. All right, Braden Hufford, thanks a lot. Oh, Braden, before you get to go, since you're senior, I ask you plans for after this. Is Alabama knocking on your door, or you got something else you got to do with your life?
Not yet. I'm still waiting for that letter. I'm probably just going to go to college. I don't know where yet.
You have an idea what course of study you might pursue?
No, I have no idea.
No idea what you want to be when you grow up?
Freestyle.
Yet? That's okay.
Just wing it.
I've got a daughter who's 32, went to Cedar Park. She still doesn't know what she wants to be when she grows up, so it can take a while, that decision there. All right, pass the mic over there to CJ Blackman. Sure. CJ, what class are you?
I'm a junior.
Junior, all right, youth. And how long have you been an offensive lineman?
Probably since, I think about 4th grade.
Oh, so you kind of have developed a mindset. You've got to run and start at this, basically, right?
Yes, sir.
What is it you like best about playing offensive line?
It's just, constant contact.
Oh.
There's never really a boring play when you play O-line.
That's true. I remember when I was in college, they couldn't play tackle football in intramurals. It had to be flag. And in high school, I was a running back, an emergency quarterback, and a safety. In flag, I wanted to play O-line. That's the only place you get to hit somebody. I always played O-line on my flag team.
I'm not going to lie. I started salivating when you said that because all of my friends were the offensive line, and I was a receiver, and so I talked a lot, but I couldn't back it up like them. So, I mean, that's awesome. That is something you love.
All right, so, all you guys, you're certainly aware of the no pass, no play thing. You got to put your academic nose to the grindstone just like your football nose, and I know that's the same nose. What is it academically that gives you some enjoyment at Cedar Park, and what is it that you don't like to do? What classes do you like and dislike?
I don't really like math because it's hard.
I'm glad you do.
I do like that the school, like the whole environment of the school, enforces that school is important in life. It's not just you have to do school to play football. It's you have to do school because you need to learn, and then you do football on the side.
One of my favorite quotes is from the famous actor John Wayne. And John Wayne once said, "Life is tough. It's even tougher if you're stupid." And yeah. Yeah. So you're right. And I'm glad you like math, and I'm glad you like it because it's hard. That says a lot of good things about you, my friend. Math was, told the last group this, math was the subject I disliked. I did all right in all the others, and math I kind of skated by. I love using math to solve problems. I do all these stats and all that, and that's great, practical math. But I hate just doing 19 straight long division exercises to see how many of them you can get done in 2 minutes. What subject do you not like?
Math.
Yeah, probably math.
It was math.
Just kidding. What is it that you like?
My favorite subject is probably science.
Ooh. What kind of science are you taking? I know they kind of spread out of many different subjects over the course of 4 years.
I'm in physics right now.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Sure.
That's a good one. What are your plans when you're done with Cedar Park? I know you got another year going to play for us, but it's never too early to start thinking.
I want to go to college somewhere and study business and have a future in business.
A lot of good business schools around here. Keep that GPA up so you can get into the best ones. All right, good job, C.J. Blackman, junior lineman. Hand it to Taylor there. Taylor Janisek is up next. And Taylor, you're a senior as well.
Yes, sir.
So how long have you been an offensive lineman?
Probably 7th grade.
7th grade. You know, Coach over there does such a great job. It's like every year we hear, well, the 7th grade team went undefeated, and the 7th grade B team went undefeated, and the 8th grade A team went undefeated, and the 8th grade B team went undefeated. It's like I think we got a couple of classes going that never lose a varsity or never lose a UIL football game until they give an unexpected one on the varsity. Are you one of those guys?
Yes, sir.
Gosh, I hate that it happened to happen to you that way. But, you know, it's really amazing the job that they do at our feeder school over there at Cedar Park Middle School.
Those middle school coaches are just as involved as our high school coaches. They do a lot in helping them get prepared, but then they also, you know, teach and take it down to our little guys.
They help teach them to be football players, too.
That's
you know,
right.
There's a lot of junior high coaches that don't do the basics of stuff. They just want to, you know, they want to get the best player running the ball the whole time so that some high school coach will notice them and hire them up to a high school somewhere. And they don't put their heart and soul in it. Brandon McCarthy and his staff do that and teach our guys over there how to tackle, how to block, how to catch, how to run. And a lot of them don't get that. And that's part of the reason the Cedar Park athletes show up at CPHS and don't need that kind of schooling as much as other high schools.
And Taylor, so are you a guard?
Yes, sir.
Very cool. And so what's kind of your skill that you think that you do very well as a guard?
Like calling out some of the combos and stuff, communicating down the line of where we need to go and who we have to block and stuff like that.
So, what's your best moment so far in Cedar Park football? I know you've only been here a little while. What have you enjoyed the most? Best moment?
Mainly some of the run plays that we run, especially when you pancake a kid. It's a great feeling that you always get. Feel great rush of just having a kid fall on his back and you just fall right on top of him.
That's so awesome. I live for that.
All right, Taylor Janisek, senior offensive lineman. We're going to take a short break. We still have Luke Williams and Nico Green and Coach Matt Kirkendall to go, but we're going to take a break here halfway through the interviews, and we'll be right back with more with the Cedar Park O-line after this.
Mouton Southern Bistro. It's not Cajun per se, but rather a fusion of Texas and Louisiana. It's more like Cajun and Creole meet familiar Texas ingredients. Try their 3 kinds of jambalaya. Very Cajun and very good. But their top seller is the chicken fried steak. They've also got great pasta dishes, shrimp and crawfish, gourmet burgers served on Hawaiian sweet rolls, and terrific gumbo. Always great ambiance, especially out on the porch. Even more so when Timberwolf Night in America is out on the porch Tuesday nights, the week of home games. That's Mouton Southern Bistro, near the corner of Cypress Creek Road and Lakeline, just behind Sonic.
This is the KMAX Sports Network.
And what do you know, that's where we are. Mouton Southern Bistro behind Sonic here. Cypress Creek and La Colina. Welcome back to Timberwolf Night in America. Live from the 613 Josh and Brad. With all the action tonight. We've been talking to the Cedar Park O-line. Luke Benavides, Braden Hufford, C.J. Blackman, Taylor Janisek. We still have Luke Williams, Nico Green to go, plus their coach, Matt Kirkendall. But before we get back to that conversation, a quick look at some other scores in the Austin area last week. First from our own District 11-5A, with all teams except Georgetown playing their final non-district games. Rouse fell to A&M Consolidated 42-9. Raiders are 2-2 like us. They will face us this week. Homecoming game for us. Maynard lost to St. Pius X private school, a strong one in Houston, 46-34. Mustangs 1-3. They opened district this week with Pflugerville. Connolly scored 34 points, but still fell to 4A Liberty Hill by 55.
Oh my gosh.
89-34.
Wow.
Cougars. Wow.
Liberty Hill's been on the map, though. They've been playing teams well.
They're a good 4A team. They run that old 1930s offense that nobody ever sees, and that's how they end up scoring points. Hard to prepare for them. Cougars 1-3, and they'll visit Hutto next.
Guess just like Oklahoma dealing with West Point.
Yeah, it's a lot like that. Georgetown had an open date. Eagles are 3-0, and they play Stephenville next week in the hole that would be the lead open date for the district schedule. Pflugerville lost to Waco La Vega, a 2-2 4A team, 61-14.
Ooh.
You know, Pflugerville's been 6A for 2 decades, just now dropped back to 5A, and they lose to a 2-2 4A team, 61-14.
So is that Hendrickson and Cedar Ridge taken from them, or?
Yeah, everything. Well, Cedar Ridge is Round Rock. Hendrickson and Connolly took from them, and Weiss.
Weiss, that's right. That's a new one.
The Panthers are 2-2. They'll open with Manor this week in district play. Hutto beat Houston Lamar 42-39 by a field goal. Lamar's just 1-3. Hippos are 3-0, and they'll play just 9 regular season games since their game last week against El Paso de Valle was weathered out. They host Connolly this week. What I've noticed, Josh, after years of playing in the top district in Texas, and this is true 7 times between 2008 and 2016, the district the Timberwolves are playing in this year barely has a 500 record at 14-12. This includes this week seeing 2 11-5A teams give up a total of 150 points in large margin losses to 2 4A teams.
And I do think a lot of other schools, though, are seeing what Cedar Park has done in years past. And I think collectively all the other teams in our district are scheduling non-district games that are somewhat worthy of, good opponents. And I know the Hippos didn't have a good one this past week, but they played a hot Liberty Hill team the week before. And there's been some good competition, but nothing as hard as our Cedar Park schedule was. I mean, as daunting as it truly was. And to see Cedar Park come out of it as 500 in the district to finish up around 500, it's finishing where it needs to be. It's down, but it'll shake out well when district gets going.
Down but on the rise. All right, other scores of interest. Westlake beat Austin High 57-0, but who doesn't? The Chaps are 3-1, 2-0 in 25-6A. Lake Travis beat Aikens 51-13, but who doesn't? Cavs 4-0 and ranked number 6 in 6A. They're 2-0 in 25-6A. Vandegrift over Hendrickson 29-20, and yet another Viper upset. 3 of them now in 4 games. Vipers are 4-0, 2-0 in 13-6A, and have already gotten past the 2 toughest teams in that district. Look for Vandy to sweep to a 10-0 regular season. There's nobody left. Vista Ridge fell to Westwood 27-7. Rangers 0-4, 0-2 in 13-6A. Leander fell to Cedar Ridge 63-21. Lions are 1-3, 0-2 in 13-6A. The Glen Grizzlies with an open date. They will play their first district game ever this week. Rob Shanefield and the boys, our former offensive coordinator. That'll be against Elgin. Grizzlies are 1-2.
Thank goodness the Elgin Wildcats will not have that ridiculous receiver that went against Cedar Park last year.
The Clavin Simmons.
Holy cow. That was one of the most
nightmare.
Unbelievable performance from one player against Cedar Park. But I don't know, man. It's just crazy to see Vista Ridge 0-4, and you just want Leander to start doing well. I really want them to do well for Coach Smith.
And checking on our former head coaches now at other locales, Joe Willis, Colleyville Heritage Panthers fell last week to Euless Trinity, a team in San Angelo Central's district, by a 35-28 score. Joe's doing at Heritage what he did at Cedar Park with a schedule. Listen to his non-district slate. North Forney, South Lake Carroll, Euless Trinity, and Carrollton Newman Smith. They beat Forney but fell to Carroll and Trinity. They're 1-2. Chris Ross's Red Oak Hawks and their offensive coordinator, Brad Willard, went into their game against Dallas South Oak Cliff last week at 3-0, but they fell 31-21. Bears are the first team Red Oak has played that has a winning record, so it's still kind of hard to tell how well they're doing. Their wins have come over 1-3 Braswell, 1-3 Princeton, and 0-4 Frisco Heritage. It took Chris about 3 years to build what we have been enjoying at Cedar Park this last decade or so Hawk fans need to buy into this for the long haul. He'll upgrade that non-district schedule when he gets the first chance, and things will take off.
Yeah, I know. Talking with my brother, and he was saying that just the way that their team came back and showed some grit towards the end, that was some promising, because it was a tough opponent for them and for their district race. And you have all the faith in Coach Ross and their coaching staff, Coach Q over there as well, and on getting it done. So, and then also for Coach Willis, and starting off a little slow, but we got a daunting non-district schedule as well.
All right, before we get back to our conversation with the O-line, Josh, let's give our picks for the district games this week. Because of our roles here, I'm sure we're both going to pick Cedar Park over Rouse.
Cedar Park it is.
Do that.
Yes.
What about Manor at Pflugerville? What's your guess there?
I'm going to go ahead and take the Stangs.
Okay.
Stangs looking pretty good, and Pflugerville, like you're saying, down year and dropping classifications. It's all in their head.
I'm going with you. Manor over Pflugerville at the Field. Connolly at Hutto.
I don't think we're going to differ from here.
Yeah.
I don't think Everybody's going Hippos on this. We gotta take the preseason district champ on that one.
Oh
my gosh, that's laughing material.
The preseason district champ.
Laughing material.
And that's it because Georgetown has an open date. So we'll both be 2-0, 0-2, or 1-1.
That's right. Hey, that's fine. It'll shake out though as it gets towards the end.
All right, let's get the mic now in the hands of Luke Williams. Luke, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good.
I understand you're the son of our golf coach, Kerry Williams.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
So do you get a lot of instruction at golf?
No, never played golf before.
Oh, that's fascinating. He's never pushed you to do it or anything?
Well, I wanted to, and he said no because there are other sports that I should be playing with my size.
Oh, that's a critical assessment of attributes, yeah. But football's pretty good, other choice, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been playing football?
Football. 6th grade, tackle. I think I started flag when I was 5 or 6.
Were you always a giant?
Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
What's your size, height, and weight?
I am 6'5", 235.
That's awesome. How's the weather up there? I wish I could have that breeze.
Where do you get it from? Your dad's not short or anything. You got other people in the family? Or you?
I have no clue.
Genetic experiment.
Yes, basically.
They put something in the milk. What do you like best about being an O-lineman? Running downfield at 6'5", 235, looking for somebody to hit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love the physicality. I love the brotherhood of lining up with 5 of your best friends, 5 of your brothers, going to work.
Now, what do you got planned for after football, after Cedar Park?
Not too much planned so far.
That's okay.
I want to be a poultry science major.
What do you know? The chicken business. Josh is in the chicken.
Hey, there you go. I'm a chicken man.
Poultry science. That's a new one. We had an actuary last week on the linebackers, the first ever, and a poultry science man. We haven't had that yet either. We've been doing the show for 6 years, 7 years.
Finding out what you like early. That's awesome.
Luke, tell me. You seem like a quiet guy. Who's the most talkative guy on the O-line? They're looking around.
It's either C.J. Blackman or Nico Green.
Ooh.
Are you the quietest one? Is there somebody that's less talkative?
No, I think Luke Benavides is pretty quiet.
Luke Benavides. No, he wasn't afraid of the microphone a little bit earlier, though. Who's the funniest guy in the O-line?
I mean, funniest looking is Braden Huffey.
Oh! Zing!
Then Nico Green's pretty funny.
All right. So, what's been your favorite moment in your years in this Timberwolf football program? Some one moment that has happened that is going to stick with you forever? It may not be a game or a play in a game. It could be just anything involved with the football.
No, I think my favorite moment was getting the chance to go out, play my first varsity game of the season as a sophomore. And I had fun. But we didn't get the result we wanted. I mean, obviously. But I'll be back next year. Hopefully kick some Viper tail.
That's right. What is the big difference? All the practice you do, running through plays and doing drills, and then here's that first real play in a real stadium. The clock's operating, the scoreboard's on, and he's calling the snap count right now. What is the difference that you feel there?
Well, I can tell you I was a little anxious for that. I false started.
Oh!
First play.
That's a great story.
Both of our tackles, me and Dylan Cooper, both false started the first play. So
that's a great
I guess
story.
I was just ready to
show
go.
You're ready to go. Yeah, I don't mind that. A lot of coaches don't mind penalties of aggression. And
no.
I would call that one of those. All right, thanks a lot, Luke. Hand it to Nico Green, who he said is the funniest guy. That's a lot of pressure that he just called you, Nico.
All right, Nico.
The funniest guy on the O-line, and now you got a microphone.
Tell us a joke, Nico.
I'm not really funny.
That's okay. That's
really
okay. It's hard to tell a joke on command.
Yeah. Being stand-up funny with jokes in your pocket is one thing. I know what he means. Just situations day to day in the locker room when you come up with a funny line, it cracks people up, right?
Yes, sir.
You do that in your family too? Are you the funny guy in the family?
Most of the time, yes, sir.
You got training for this now.
Do you have brothers or sisters?
I have a sister, yes, sir.
Who's the most serious guy on the O-line?
I'd probably say Taylor Janicek.
Taylor's the most serious guy.
Yeah.
Is he also the guy least likely to laugh when everybody else is laughing at what
No,
he did?
definitely not. No.
So what position are you playing? You're playing center, right?
Yes, sir.
Have you played center before, or is this something new?
No, this is my first year.
And what other positions were you before that?
Guard.
And not tackle, but always guard? And then
I played
center now?
tackle freshman and sophomore year, and then junior I played guard, and then this year I'm playing center.
Do you like it?
It's a lot of pressure, but yeah, I like the pressure. It's pretty fun.
Now, you're not the deep snapper, though, right? Does somebody
No,
come
sir.
in and do deep snapping? Who is it that does the deep snap? Is it Logan?
Yeah, Logan May and then Chase Grossman.
Okay.
A skinny neck.
Now, since we have so many plays from the shotgun formation, the spread, you're kind of a deep snapper on every
Yeah.
down anyway. And, I'm going to knock on wood the whole time I'm saying this, but I haven't seen any snaps rolled back to Hernandez or Fiala or snapped over their head yet, so you're doing a good job. Or way off to their side or anything like that. How is it now? You're not looking. You're looking up to see the nose guard or what you're supposed to do. So the snap is always kind of a blind one.
Yes,
I
sir.
guess after a certain amount of time, you just kind of have a feeling where here's my release point, here's the path my arm
Yeah,
travels.
you just get used to it after a while. Like it gets repetitive.
Do we have any plays? I don't recall seeing any where the quarterback's under center.
No, sir.
It's all spread now, right?
Yes, sir.
Plus that single wing thing where you're snapping short to a running back or something, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, do you have to do anything for that snap that's different than snapping it to right or right?
Yeah, you gotta like snap a little bit lower because the quarterback or running back is a little bit
They're
lower.
closer
than you.
and lower. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah. So how does that? For a center, having that job to do that is so critical to get the play started before you get to fire off and hit somebody, how does job one affect job two?
Sometimes it affects you, but most of the time it's just like a fluid motion. It doesn't really affect you once you get used to it.
I have a theory that when centers do that bad snap, they were worried at that moment that they needed to get over here because the guy that's supposed to block moves.
Yeah, once you stop focusing on it, then
Yeah.
that's when it becomes a problem.
What's your favorite moment as a Timberwolf now? Your senior year, right?
Yes, sir. Probably just getting the start versus Vandegrift, like a bunch of people in the crowd. It's pretty fun. Gives you a lot of chills.
Were you worried on your very first live action snap?
Yes, sir. I was a little anxious. Once I got the first contact, it all went away. Though.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, and what are you planning to do when you're done with Cedar Park High?
Probably go to college, and I'm not sure what I want to study yet.
Yeah, it's interesting that this group has been less decisive on what they want to do as field of study at the next level than a lot of our other groups. This is also the group that historically tests out with the best IQ. So maybe, just a little waiting to make sure you don't want to pull the trigger too quick on what you want to do and get into something you're going to regret. And these guys are just taking it easy.
And from the chuckles, I don't think they want to compare grades with positions right now.
I'm saying that's the poll data. That's all I'm saying.
Just saying.
All right, thanks a lot. So we've been talking with Luke Benavides, Braden Hufford, C.J. Blockman, Taylor Janicek, Luke Williams, and Nico Green in that order, Cedar Park offensive linesmen. And now we're going to talk to Coach Matt Kirkendall. And Coach Kirkendall, you've been with us on this show before, haven't you?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
And been here with the O-line before.
Yes, sir.
These guys, are under your tutelage, and somebody else is helping you too, right? It's not just you.
Coach Barksdale.
Coach Barksdale,
yes,
that's
sir.
right. Couldn't come tonight. He had his son's game.
Yeah, his son's playing at Glenn High School, Glenn High School right now.
Josh and I, we were talking earlier, and it's something that it's something you coaches have to see too. Is it's real exciting for us to look and see the improvement week to week, and now beating some good teams in back-to-back games, pressure-packed situation this last time, and coming through on the road with a big win, and yet still seeing this flaw here, and we're not doing that well there. To me, that's if we're playing the best we could ever play, and we had that 1-point win, I think, oh no. We've got places we're going to still improve, and I'm excited as to where this program is going to head with those improvements because you guys always make them and are successful in instilling them. What are you thinking?
Yes, sir, absolutely. This group, for sure, we got the one returner in Braden Hufford, and we're doing a great job of coming along. We knew that there were going to be times where we showed some inexperience, but they've definitely come together, and we're getting better. I mean, it seems like every day. To see where we came from in the spring with this group to now, I mean, it's just night and day. Totally different, and they're getting better every single day.
And I like the fact that I don't know if you were here when I said that on the way out of the press box at Legacy, there was a longtime reporter for the Houston Chronicle. They were all surprised that they'd lost to us. And he was shocked when I added to their surprise by saying, oh, yeah, and 4 of our 5 offensive linemen saw their first varsity snaps 3 weeks ago, and so did all of our running back corps.
Right.
And he was just got so dejected after that. And to see that we got our issues with the running game and closing the deal, scoring points on offense right now. But to think that a lot of these guys have never played varsity football on our offense until 3 weeks ago is really exciting.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. The future is certainly bright, and like it's this year. This year, the future is bright this year. They're going to keep getting better every week. And we knew when we scheduled the 4 opponents that we started this season with that it was going to be tough going through all of them. And we see now that Vandergrift is really, really stinking good. Cedar Ridge is, 4 rounds deep last year.
Yep.
Cinco Ranch, no joke. San Angelo Central is always a West Texas power, and these guys came and fought their tails off, gave us a chance in all 3 of them, and we were lucky to get the last 2 and get this ball rolling in the district.
It's also going to be exciting that it's not a pure senior core and thinking that next year we're going to have to start over and do this all over again. You've got a lot of guys who are going to get experience this year and come back and play next year.
Right. They're going to be monsters come next year for sure.
That's going to be really good. All right, Coach Matt Kirkendall, the O-line with us tonight. And now perhaps our favorite segment of the show. We're going to play one of our trivia games with the guys. We've got several versions of what we call the mascot game, and what we're going to play tonight is one of 3 versions of that game. We call it Texas Most Popular Mascots. We're going to split up into 2 teams. I'm going to pick the captains. Coach Kirkendall is going to be a captain, and Braden's going to be a captain. And we'll let Braden pick 3 guys, and Coach Kirk gets the other 2. Braden, pick 3 guys to join you.
3 off the top?
Well, Coach Kirk's going to be good at this, I know.
Okay.
Benavidez, Williams, and Janis.
Did you just do that for proximity reasons?
Yeah, go ahead and move closer to Braden. So you guys just switch spots. And, CJ and Nico are going to go with Coach Kirkendall. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Each team's going to take turns providing the names of mascots in Texas high school football that they think are among the most popular, the most used. You get points commensurate with how many Texas high schools use that mascot. So if you guess, say, the Gravel Garglers, and there are 4 schools that have that mascot, you get 4 points. Now, the caveat is that we're only going to focus on the top 20 most popular. You might guess one that you know has a lot of schools using it, but if it's not in my database of Texas high school mascots at number 20 or higher, you're going to get 0 points for that guess. And at the end of 7 innings, we'll see if we got a winner. If we're tied, we can go to extra innings. So let's pull up that little score sheet. And we got Team
100%.
Hufford and Team Kirk.
We're going to go Team Kirk since they got first pick.
Team Kirk, we'll have them go first. So Team Kirk, your first guess here in first inning. Name a really popular top 20 Texas high school mascot.
The Tigers.
The Tigers. Let's punch it in here and see what we got. Tigers. Whoops. Got to spell it right, though, for it to work. Tigers. Survey said they are the 3rd most popular with 60 points. It is 60-0 going to the bottom of the first. Now Team Hufford gets a guess. Name a popular Texas high school mascot. Who do you got?
We're going to say the Raiders.
Janisek says Raiders. Playing some Raiders this week. All right, Raiders. They are ranked 12th most popular, 21 points. Another scoring shot there. Team Kirkendall leads by 39 points. All right, so your guess next.
Bulldogs.
Bulldogs. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. In fact, it is the most popular in Texas with 76 high school teams calling themselves the Bulldogs or the Bulldogs. Score now 136-21. Team Kirk leads by 115 points. Okay, Team Hufford.
We're going to say the Bears.
The Bears. I think that's probably a good guess, too. It is ranked 16th with 16 using it. Still trailing by 99 points. Top of the 3rd, Team Kirk.
The Eagles.
Eagles. Boy, that's a good one, too. I would have guessed that was the most, actually. It turned out to be the Bulldogs. Eagles. Survey said the second most was 74.
200 on him.
to 37. So I told you he was going to be good at this. That's why I gave him less people. Excuse me. All right, Team Hufford, your third guess. What do you got?
We're going to say the Lions.
The Lions, I think that's a good one. Some Lions in the neighborhood. They are the seventh most popular with 35.
There you go.
Now a 72-point total for Team Hufford. Team Kirkendall, you're up.
The Wildcats.
Wildcats.
Oh, that's a good one.
Another one. Survey said 48 of them. The fifth most popular.
That's all there is to it.
Team Hufford dragging it. All right, you're up with your fourth guess.
We're going to say the Bobcats.
Bobcats, that's a good guess, too. You guys are hitting them. Nobody has swung and missed yet. Bobcats, 11th most popular, 23 of them, 95 points, trailing by 163 with 3 guesses left for each team. Team Kirk.
The Cougars.
Cougars. You guys are hitting them all. Cougars, 27 of them, 8th most popular, 285 to 95. Team Hufford, guess number 5.
We're going to say the Panthers.
Panthers, I think that's another one. You guys, you both know what you're talking about. The 4th most popular with 53 closes the gap now, 285 to 148. The gap is 137. 2 guesses left for each team. Team Kirk.
The Mustangs.
Mustangs. Let's try that one. Whoops. Make sure I spell it right. No. Mustangs with 44 of them, 6th most popular. 329 points. All right, Team Hufford, 2 guesses left for you.
The Gators.
Gators?
Oh, wrong state, brother.
Yeah, here we go. And, oh, man. Boy, you needed that one. All right, Team Kirk, you pretty much clinched it. What's your final guess?
The Hawks.
The Hawks.
I'm just doing the premature horn.
It is the 19th most popular with 13. Your final total, 342. And unless Team Hufford can guess one that has 195 users thereof, they're going to fall here. Guess number 7. What do you got? What do you got?
We're going to say the Falcons.
Falcons. What do you know? There are 400 of them. No.
I wish.
They're in there, though, at 17 with 14. Final score, 342 to 162. Kirkendall wins by 180 points. Only one swing and miss between the two teams and 14 guesses. An important one, though, in the 6th inning. Can't swing and miss in the 6th inning. All right, so Team Kirkendall wins. You know, this is real. You know, the coaches know this stuff. This isn't even really football, right? It's just kind of weird trivia. It doesn't have anything to do with winning or losing games. But every time that we've got a coach-led team versus just players, the coach's team wins this game. This is back over years.
Oh, yeah.
These guys that pay a lot of attention to every aspect of this sport. All right. And now it's time for our preview of the Rouse Raiders. The Rouse Raiders, as we know, coached by a great guy who came to Cedar Park with Chris Ross and Carl Absek from Wichita Falls back in 2005. And he was the original defensive coordinator for our own Black Rain defense through 2007. And that's Josh Mann. He's the only head coach the Raiders have ever had. I had the pleasure of joining him on his own show last night at Zaxby's on 1431, the Raider Nation Live, hosted by our next guest, KMAX Sports voice of the Rouse Raiders, Sonny Zepeda. Sonny? Come on up.
I can get you hooked up right here if you want.
Get him on a headset, or you can do the hand mic, whichever
Yeah, we
you
can go
want
with
to
the headset.
He's used to either one.
I'll take that one for you, and you should be good.
Yeah, just wherever you want to plop down. You don't need to stand up for us. No need to do that.
Next to Coach.
Right
That's
next
right.
to Coach is good. All right, Sonny, Rouse Raiders, Josh Mann, you guys have a nice thing going out there.
It is a good thing, and it's I think it's started with our high school principal, Christine Simpson. Her and Josh got together, and it's kind of building a culture. And as much as academics are very important, but the way to rally kids around each other is through sports. I do believe that. And it was one thing that Ms. Simpson was able to get with Josh and said, hey, we need to start getting the community together and start building this thing. And I think success across the board. Rouse able to get into the playoffs last year for the first time in 3 years. I believe every sport was able to get into the playoffs. The girls were the state runner-up in volleyball last year. So a lot of deep runs, basketball, soccer, all of them in the postseason. And I think that just kind of started bringing all the kids, theater, choir, band does well. So I think it's just kind of that culture. And Josh is real big on getting the little guys, as you saw last night, the Rouse Youth Football Association, those guys coming in. And kind of one of the things that we talked about a couple of years ago when we started doing this was these older guys being the role models that they don't realize that they are. Because even here at Cedar Park, they've got those little guys that come watch them play every Friday and go, I want to be like that guy.
Yeah, they can't wait to climb into those colors.
I mean, now if they're a kid like me that's always short and continues to be short, you're not going to be like these big offensive linemen here. But it's that sense of responsibility that the kids, I think, is important these days. That, social media is so prevalent, and everybody's at that acceptance of, how many likes do I have, how many retweets, and, all that stuff. And so I think it's important for kids, especially players who play this great game, Texas high school football, to understand that those little kids are watching everything that they do. And it just breeds that tradition, that culture, and something Cedar Park has had that everybody tries to imitate, nobody can duplicate. I mean, let's be honest. That's kind of the standard. Coach Ebsek and Coach Ross and Coach Mann was a part of it. And so I think that's kind of what everybody tries to do. And it's good to see because, as you said last night, it's going to be a slobber knocker between Rouse and Cedar Park because a lot of these kids know each other.
They're both such physical teams. They know each other. Josh
And
Mann, more than any coach in the district, knows what Carl likes to do. So it's always a little touchy when we know we're facing Rouse. We know we're up against a tough time.
And it's always that test, for Rouse. And I had a son who graduated last year, and so the last 5 years watching this and seeing it, that's always the mark. That's always the benchmark that say, okay, where are we at? And unfortunately, it's the first game of district, and so we get to see exactly where we're at. But that's always good, and I think that's, it's kind of twofold because I think, with Cedar Park, with the expectation that they have year in and year out, it's kind of they're going to get everybody's best. They've got that bullseye on their back, and they have stood up to those tests quite a few times. But I think Rouse comes in not really thinking it's Cedar Park and the tradition. They come in going, it's the next opponent. And I think Josh does that, and he gets those players to understand that it is the next opponent, and it's always a good game. And just unfortunately, and like Coach Mann said last night, to consider it a rivalry, Rouse would have had to at least win one game. So we have gone 0 for 9, I believe, since we've had the game played between Rouse and Cedar Park. So, we'll see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, I definitely think that all of that goes out the window. Record goes completely out the window when you know that you're going to have Whataburger rights on the line, when you know that you can have bragging rights on the line. And so you never want to sleep on any of these district games at all, especially Rouse, who is another technically sound team with Coach Mann and how he does and dictates his program. It's very technically sound. And my favorite Coach Mann story was he used to be the defensive coordinator over here, and we had a couple guys getting into it in the weight room when we were doing a circuit workout, and a couple punches started flying, and so Coach Mann just said, all right, y'all are going to hold hands for the rest of the workout. And they literally had to hold hands for the entire workout. And but that's just kind of the command he had of a room. He could really make two 18-year-olds hold hands for an entire workout because they were terrified of him, but also because he was such a good coach and just that program is so well run over there.
I think it's just that sense of respect for a coach, and you see that with all these players and I was fortunate enough to be around a coach when I coached in Oklahoma that was probably, you didn't want to let him down. And it's like, okay, if I made a bad grade on a test, I really don't want to go to practice because I'm afraid coach is going to find out. And I think that's kind of the sense that there's that expectation there, but it's just kind of understood as being part of the football team. And I think the same thing here because you have all these kids and they surprise you when you put the microphone in front of them, because 9 times out of 10, they can get behind a computer or they can do this. You put that microphone in. Very well spoken, and it's good to see that art isn't lost quite just yet. But
there's still hope.
There's still hope for this generation. So,
All right, previewing this game and previewing the Raiders. This is the 9th time these two football programs have faced off. As Sonny says, Cedar Park leads the series currently 8-0. They first played in 2010 in the same district, except for a couple of years there. I guess it was like 14 and 15. They went to 6A for a couple of years, now back down with us in 5A. They scored their share of points on the Black Rain over the years. In fact, they usually score more than other district teams do. But they've actually not scored since an 85-yard touchdown interception return by Chris Schubert with 59 seconds left in the first half of the game played September 4th, 2015, 3 years and 2 weeks ago. That pick six actually gave them the halftime lead that night, 17-15, before Jack Grimm, the Grim Reaper, went wild with 3 touchdowns rushing and 1 receiving in the second half of a 42-17 win. Raiders had also led 10-8 a little earlier in that game. And in the whole history of the series, those were the first and last leads Rouse has ever held over Cedar Park. This season, the Raiders, like the Timberwolves, finished their non-district schedule 2-2. They opened with a 34-13 win over Vista Ridge, then a 25-20 loss to the Anderson Trojans. In Game 3, the Raiders beat the new Pflugerville school, Weiss, 41-13. Last week, they fell to A&M Consolidated 42-9. Consol, the best team they faced, having gotten all the way to the state championship game last year. Outside of that game, the Raiders have shown some scoring punch, though, averaging 32 points a game prior to the loss to the Tigers. Defensively, they've not really been challenged much except for last week. They averaged 230 rushing yards a game, 56 through the air. Senior quarterback Ethan Moore is 20 for 54 with 1 touchdown and 2 picks for 225 yards. They have a 3-headed ground game between Moore, senior Tavion Tate, and junior Mylan Mitchell. Moore's rushed for 268 on a 5.0 average with 4 touchdowns. Tate has 340 and a 5.8 average with 6 scores, and Mitchell has 258 on a 5.2 average with 2 touchdowns. 3 running backs averaging 5 yards a carry or better for the Raiders. They don't throw much, and they don't have anyone with more than 3 catches on the season. Sophomore Drew Henson has the lone touchdown catch. And Sonny, Josh, a defensive specialist as a coach, likes to get it done with defense.
He does like to get it done with defense, and obviously, and that's been his mantra ever since he's been at Rouse. They're going to run the ball, and they're run heavy. And when you have Tavion and Mylan and Ethan now with his threat, with his feet, you know they're going to run the ball. And, you know, there's been a couple of times, I think the last game we were behind, and obviously I think threw the ball 21 times, 18 times against Anderson in the loss there. So both times they're chasing points and late in the game. You don't ever see that much, you know, against Pflugerville Weiss. That's what they gave us, and they only put, 6 in the box and said, go ahead and run. So,
okay,
if it's not red,
Thank
you might as well, right?
Got these 3 guys.
Yeah, I mean, we got 3 of them. None of them get tired. And Drew Henson, the sophomore, who stands maybe, and I'm going to give him some credit because his helmet, probably 5'4", 5'5", is probably one of the most fiercest competitors I think I've seen in a long time.
Little water bug, probably hard to get him down.
Yeah, and
Darren Sproles kind of
Yeah,
guy.
I mean, he just runs all the time, and I'm thinking, okay, he's going to have a sub, and there he is again, next play out there running routes and everything. To me, it kind of reminds me of this is for Josh, an Edelman, or a Cole Beasley type receiver that he can just get open. He's not the prototypical receiver, the Chance Coopers that we've had in the past, or the Gavin Sharps, the nice-looking receivers. He's just that go-getter. But, yeah, the defense, I think, was kind of the question mark that everybody had because we lost a lot from last year. Alex Salazar and Cole Bresnahan, 2 linebackers who to replace them with. Well, coaches get Kane Adamas, who was a fullback last year, and now he becomes the Mike linebacker this year and has really stepped into that role very nicely. Had some really good play last week, even in the loss. But he's really played well. And so I think the back end, the secondary, is probably the strong suit. And as you said, last week was their biggest test with Fedora and his passing attack because I'm telling you, he was able to light it up, and he had some good receivers, good-looking receivers on the outside, 6'4", 6'5". Against our corners it wasn't a good matchup. We were overmatched a couple of times, but yeah.
Coach Matt Kirkendall of our O-line, when you look at Rouse, what is it they do well defensively that your O-line has to contend with? What do we have to do well? Whoops, let's get your mic turned on here.
Actually going to go right there. Nice.
A little technical.
Go
now
for
try
it.
Now try.
They give us multiple looks. They're going to get in a lot of different fronts. We're going to see a lot of different things that we have to be ready for, be prepared for, and then we have to adjust as they do what they're going to do. They're going to show us a lot of different things, and we'll think we got a good chance of picking it all up, but we'll see. They do a great job of it.
All right.
So, Brad, my question to Coach Kirkendall, the offensive line, you see those fronts. First 4 games, did you see a lot of different looks from all the opponents that you played, or was it pretty much base across? They ran a 3 or a 4 front against you?
For the most part, we've been pretty hammer on the nail when it comes to what we think we're going to see. We've been pretty right about it. The thing that helps prepare us the most is the fact that our defense does anything and everything. And so we get to see it every day in practice. We don't have to worry about seeing it from opponents.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We see it every day. So.
All right. Thanks to both Sonny and Coach Kirkendall. Thoughts on the Rouse game, the homecoming game for Cedar Park coming up here this Friday night. Josh, any closing remarks before we get out here? It's 9 o'clock. Time to go home.
It's going to be a really good game and just a great one to start district. So try to make plans to come out and support the team for homecoming. But if you can't, make sure that you plan to tune in to kmaxsports.com. You'll hear myself and Cecil the Kokenauer. So we'll make sure we have a good broadcast for you guys. But try to come out and support these guys. They really need it as district gets going. And we got a really good football team in front of us for this season. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, that's it for tonight. We'll be back next Tuesday night at 7:30 Central Time from Majores. Joining us next week, the receivers. We'd like to thank our guests tonight, the Cedar Park O-line, Braden Hufford, Luke Benavides, C.J. Blackman, Taylor Janisek, Luke Williams, Nico Green, and their coach, Matt Kirkendall, and also the voice of the Rouse Raiders on KMAX Sports, Sonny Zepeda. This year's sponsors, Family Emergency Room, U.S. Money Reserve, Danny's Barbershop, Call Fire, Mouton, Southern Bistro, Majores, Toyota of Cedar Park, Jeff Dietz Allstate, The Grass Patch, Alzer's Barbecue, Parker Electric, SRK Financial Group, Army Ant Moving, Bush's Chicken, Rudy's Barbecue, and the law office of Travis Williamson. My great thanks to my broadcast partner here for Timberwolf football these last 7 years for all the work he does, Josh Crash Willard, and to our QA tonight, Les Clary. See you Friday night at the Gup for homecoming with KMAX Sports live worldwide broadcast of Game 5 of the 2018 campaign. The 11-5A district openers, the Timberwolves, face off against Josh Mann and the Raiders. Sounds like a band. Timberwolf Night America is a presentation of KMAX Sports and the Vype Network. Hunt 'em.
Sports Network.